Hi, how are you? So, I was asked to do a video about acceptable limits. And when I was thinking about the subject, it's so much intertwined with relationships that I realized that I'm going to have to do a completely separate video for relationships. And that one's going to be a long one. So, I'll probably divide it up into like 14 parts. But this one's going to kind of sit on acceptable limits. And basically, acceptable limits are just that. What are the limits that we accept that we say it's okay to be treated like this? And for most people, those limits vary, whether it's a coworker or a family member or a friend or a loved one. And I always think it's funny because friendship is such an amazing thing. And I think if more people looked at friendship and how that dynamic works and incorporated that into other areas of their lives, their relationships with their romantic relationships would be so much better. Because friends aren't afraid to tell friends what they need to hear. And friends can get upset at each other and not hold any animosity towards each other. And, and just love each other and work it out. And, they could be really in a heated argument about something because they care about each other one minute and the next minute they're just like, man, thanks for caring. I really, really appreciate that. And it's surprising how people don't take that type of love into their romantic relationships. So the example I always like to use is a coworker. And coworkers are really great because what are your acceptable limits with a coworker? Coworkers are one of those easy things because we don't have to deal with them. Sometimes we do. But overall, we can be professional. We deal with them in a short period of the day. But how do they treat you? And what I find in most relationships, and when I'm working with people in relationships, is that things that they would never let a coworker do, they let their romantic relationship do over and over and over again. And they say, hey, this is okay. Well, why? Because it's still our spirit. All right? Our spirit is what we're always concerned about. That's the basis of spirituality, the spirit. Okay? We have to take care of it. And we do that by making good choices for our soul. So with acceptable limits in relationships is how does the person that you're involved with treat you? And what you say to the universe is you lay out the groundwork to say, all right, this is acceptable, but this is not. Now we do that in almost every other relationship that we have. We do that in a relationship because a relationship is how we relate to someone else. It's not an entity, and that's another video, but it's not an entity. A relationship is simply how you relate to someone else. You go out to a restaurant and you have a rude waitress. You have a relationship with that waitress. You're relating to them. You wouldn't stand for having a rude waitress. Yeah, it's your night out. I can understand that. Why would you accept having a rude coworker, a rude family member, or a rude lover being in your life? Yet, we do that. And that's kind of what I mean about setting acceptable limits. Acceptable limits are what's good for your soul. And in relationships, people they make excuses for why I can deal with this type of relationship, why I can deal with this type of treatment. Oh, I love him, he's great, he's this, he's that, but blah, 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 blah. Well, what about those buts? Because are they acceptable to you? And if you say they're acceptable to you, then what you're saying to the universe is that, hey, this treatment is acceptable. And we've all seen these kind of people who go through these kind of motions and they have these violent breakups, not physically, but these explosive breakups, and suddenly they get involved in another relationship that's exactly like this, the one they just got out of. And you see this cycle. Maybe you can look now and see the cycle in yourself. I'm so sorry. But you see the cycle in yourself. It repeats itself over and over, and you go, why? Why does this happen? I'm a good person. How come I can't find somebody? Because you are setting the limits to the universe that says, hey, this treatment is acceptable. Most times what happens is there's a red flag right away. Red flag, warning sign, hey, something's wrong. But we overlook it because we're interested in the person. Oh, they're really nice, they've got a great smile, they're professional, they've got a, whatever. But they say anti-Semitic things. I don't know, whatever you want to put in there, that's what they do. It's a red flag, but we're so interested in the other stuff, we kind of overlook it. We need to be more in contact with those red flags, because those red flags will continue to be there through the relationship. But once you get involved in that relationship, then suddenly your mind kind of focuses and then go, well, what about the relationship? What about, this is really kind of a blurred video with relationships, but what about the relationship? What about this entity that doesn't exist? And it makes it harder to overcome this. So what happens is they become very turbulent, a lot of turmoil, and eventually the relationship ends and you get into another one like it. So how do we stop that process? We need to say what is right for us. And it's not a matter of saying, I want to be treated like a king or a queen, or I want this, I want that. It's just a matter of coming from your highest self, and it really deals with respect. Because when you respect somebody, you naturally treat them from a wholesome place. What level of respect does your relationship have? And if it doesn't have a level that you're comfortable with, then it's time to say, this is not right for me. Because my spirit deserves more. My spirit deserves the same amount that I can give. It deserves that back. All right? It has to be mutual. The law of karma is very simple. It's giving something and getting something type of thing. The yin and the yang. Everything is motion. Okay? If you give, you receive. If you receive, you give. It's very, very simple. Okay? And what we find is that at some level there is a disconnect. There is a person that, for whatever reason, they call and they say, hey, I'll be over in 20 minutes, and then they never show up. That's a good example. I know a couple of people that happens to quite frequently. Oh, the next day, oh, I'm sorry, something came up, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, how come you didn't call me? Oh, yeah, just things got busy and blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. Why would you accept that? Well, my phone and this and that, the other. Anybody can find 5 seconds to pick up the phone and call. Anybody. If you're doing the right thing, that is the right thing. I can't make it. I'm going to call. There's something else going on with that person. If you make an excuse for that person, you say to the universe, this is acceptable. This is how that situation should work. If you're ever in that type of relationship, that happens the first time, you talk about it, you go, why did this happen, blah, 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 red flag, pay attention. If it happens the second time, done. But so many people will stay in that environment. And they will continue to let those things happen. And they'll continue to make excuses. Well, they were really busy. Oh, well, they said this. Oh, well, that's just the way they are. That might be the way they are. But is that what you want in your life? And every time you let it be, you tell the universe, that's okay. That's my level of acceptability. That's my level of acceptance that I will take for that kind of treatment in my life. Sometimes I get wrapped up in the story. I lose my words. And that's not right. We wouldn't do that with a coworker. Same thing with family. It's probably another video. But just because they're family does not give them the right to treat you poorly, to hurt your spirit, to cage your soul. Just because you were born into a particular family does not give anybody the right to cage your soul. Set those acceptable limits. When you find that you start doing that, you'll find that all your relationships will start to change. When you say to the universe that my acceptable limits are now up here because somebody needs to treat my soul good. Somebody needs to treat my soul with love and respect. And those are the people that will start coming in your life. And the ones that don't do that, you'll find out really fast. And all of a sudden we'll be like, wow, I'm not even attracted to that person anymore. Why? That would be like the perfect person that I would be attracted to. Why am I not attracted to them? Because on some level you already know. And the universe is saying, no, they're not going to give you what you need. and you move on. But if you don't, if you continue to accept it into your life, it will continue to repeat itself into your life over and over and over again until you break the cycle. So I hope that helps a little bit. We will be doing videos on relationships because that one's key for everyone. And I don't know, that might be part 1, part 2. There's a lot to that one. I don't want to make these too long. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from it. And please subscribe to the channel so you can be made aware of the new videos as they come out. I appreciate it. Thank you.